Right, it's a slight change of plan this time. We're still in the local area where I've been fishing, but we're on the advanced angling blue pool for the annual Gardner social. Bit of filming thrown in and everything, just to get a bit of content for them, for the company. But yeah, well, we're here for a couple of days, so there'll be a few fish caught. And funnily enough, our next door's got one, so we'll go and have a look at that. Get up to the old gallows. Unveil the beauty. Lovely owl. Well, that was a bit of excitement. Couple of bites up there, pretty quick succession, like a low 20 for Craig, and Owl's just had one of the better ones, like a mid 30. Funnily enough, same fish I had about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and we had a social on here. Greg Ellis organised it to raise money for the otter fence around the main lake to protect the Burfield Common. So yeah, it's good to see that one again. It's typical of a deep, clear, weedy lake, nice and dark, you know, like good condition, like got potential this lake has. Right, while we've been dealing with them two fish, matey over the other side, James, has just got one, so we're going to go around and take a few photos of that, have a little look at his fish, see what he's got. What you caught? Right, I'm wave back round, just going to quickly check my spot, which is just down here in the margins, so make use of the journey, so have a quick look, see if there's anything in there. If the bait had gone, I'd be worried whether the crayfish had had my hook baits off, but I think it's all still fishing good. Hopefully they'll turn up later with the sun on it. Generally, this isn't my sort of thing, but it's good to have a catch up once a year, you know, the annual social. So some of the lads we only see like each other once a year, so it's nice to sort of do a bit of fishing, have a little barbecue and some beers later on, you know, just have a laugh generally amongst it. You know, when you spent all year sat on a big pit on your own being a bit serious, it's nice to sort of let your hair down, and well, I'll tell you a bit more about that later on. Right, I'll wind this one in because it's open water and I can't see what's going on the bottom. Had a few single bleeps, so you never know, it could be crayfish, so freshen this one up, put a bit of bait out of the spod. Sort the other two rods out in a bit. I won't recast them, I'll just put a little bit of bait along that margin, just to, if the fish turn up, they can feed all the way along the margin. Yeah, doesn't seem like there's much wrong with that. Oh well, freshen it up, keep me amused for a bit. just busting up a few boilies that I'll mix in with some particles, and then I'm going to scatter it all along the gravel spots all the way along that bank that I've got a couple of rods on. More a case of no one else is fishing along there, so if the fish do come down this end, there's a couple's turned up this afternoon. If they turn up in numbers and feed on some of the bait along there, they'll move along each spot and hopefully clear them out. Or if I actually hook fish off of the spot, they might just move up to the next one and just carry on feeding and then work their way back again. So method in me madness is just all on a hope that they turn up, because I can't really move to get on the fish, so might as well get it set up. Found this in the past on some waters. If you bait one spot along a margin, they can avoid it, so it's best to dot it along it, get them working the margin, and then if they turn up, they'll be occupied in more than one place and spooked off it if I hook one. Realistically, a lake like this, there's a chance of catching a few when they turn up on you, so get it all ready, set out from like a buffet. So much nicer crumbing up fairly softish boilies and rock hard ones. You know, it blisters on your thumbs, don't you? Get your hand in and mix it, fanning about with scoops. That'll do it. Love the way that sinks through the water slowly. Take note where it settles as well. It's easy to just walk up and fuck a load of bait in and walk off, isn't it? Make mental notes or whatever where it's settling. Must be a good spot. It's got a twig across it. It's just stop people either coming round here, or it's quite a good one to fish from. Good bit of fun. Bit of line hanging there as well. The next one. Should colour that dark spot up a bit. Be able to see it then. And there, you'll be up all night filming. Head full of beer. Mate, he just moved out of here, hasn't he? Like a load of paratroopers coming in to the war zone. Right, what I've just done there is I've just walked all the way along that bank, thrown a couple of handfuls of bait on each spot, like a mixture of bit of particle like hemp, like just general particles really, a bit of breadcrumb in there, crushed boilies, whole boilies, but yeah, generally what I'm using on the hook baits as well. Yeah, I've baited the spots more a case if the fish do turn up down this end, they're held up in the weed up there at the moment, but they might move. I can't get on the fish, so I might as well do something with this margin. If they turn up and start working the margin, it's not all about one spot. They should get their confidence like on any of them spots that they're used to being fed on. So hopefully it'll work. I've seen the fish come into this corner earlier, which is a good sign. It's better than what I have seen. And the furthest spot up the bank, seen it's like a bit milked up. Looks like there's definitely had a visit. There was an angler fishing there earlier, but he moved off, so maybe a fish has hit his bait since his line has come out, I don't know, but I'll give it a little check later just before the barbecue and a little evening social. Maybe a check before dark, and then a check in the morning, see what's going on. Maybe a rebait in the morning if all the food's been nicked overnight, which quite often happens on these lakes. They show up in the dark and rob the margins, but yeah, we'll see how it goes tonight. Right, hoodie's on, sun's gone down, rods are out. I redid one of them, as you see earlier. Left the other two out because they're good as, you know, you could see by looking along the margins that the bait hadn't been touched, the rigs were still fishing, so we'll leave them in the hope that fish show up in my area. Move out of the weed for the night and that, rob the margins. But yeah, it's uneventful for me so far, but going on what happened last night, a few bites and that, just as the light started to go and that, you never know. We could be using the cameras a bit sooner than we thought. If not, we'll see you in the morning after we've had a social this evening. I think the barbecue's just been lit. There's some cold beers up there, so it's time to chill out really and hope. Right, morning. Last night's, well, morning update is last night had a good barbecue. All the lads come round, wound in, had a good social. Went on for a few hours, good laugh actually. Yeah, during the social, Craig up there had a nice linear out, so that sort of added to the fun of the events. It was great when someone gets a bite in the middle of a social, isn't it? Yeah, that sort of raised spirits. Yeah, through the night I managed to sort of finally catch one. I was getting a few liners, single bleeps over weeds, so yeah, that was like looking promising. Got a little take, small, little common. But yeah, it's a bite, it's better than nothing, isn't it? You know, everyone else seems to be doing all right. There's been a few other fish come out, I think, so far this morning. Chap on the other side, Carl, he's had a 38 leathery thing, one of the big ones, so that's real good, you know. Been some good fish caught actually this week. And I think Craig up there, he's had a couple this morning. One we're just about to go and check out, it's a 34 pounder, so yeah, it's going off. I actually had a little check along the margins this morning. It's all smoked up, they've robbed the bait and there's still fish on a couple of my rods, so I'm sort of half expecting one to go any minute. Like every bleep sort of gets you going really, so yeah, we'll see. We'll go and check this fish out anyway. I'm going to run out of net in a minute. Look at that, bless him. This is my reward for my efforts yesterday of changing the baiting strategy. I've got the smallest fish in the lake, I reckon. The bluefield common. Oh, bless him. Go on in, off you go little fella. There he goes, off to find his friends. Had a little look over there earlier and there's quite a few fish feeding. We're having a nose around the spot, but I couldn't see much bait. So I'll give it a couple of hours. There's a chance I might have been cleared out, so I'm just going to throw a bit more bait over the rigs. I'm pretty confident that the leads haven't been moved or the hook baits ain't been touched, so yeah, just try and liven the spot up again really. Bit of smell in the water. Yeah, look. Here, Dave. There's one there, look, see him? Yeah, I couldn't even see the bottom here this morning where they'd been on that bait I'd put down here, so it's fizzing up there in the weed now, see? Well, left it a bit late, 24 hours left. Might have to move one of my rods onto this spot because they're definitely visiting it quite regular now. Cleared that right out. They've been busy. There's one down there now, see him? There's another one coming through, big one under the branch here, see him? There's another one following him. That's a chunk, see it? Well, judging by the colour of the water here since I looked about an hour or so ago, 2 hours, they've been proper busy on this, and there weren't a lot of visual bait down here this morning. It looks like they've been digging and looking for what was there, and it's like proper coloured up. There's fish coming in and tipping down, looking by the look of it. Got some bait here to throw over the rigs, but it's like, what do I do? Throw it in while they're still feeding? It worked the last time I tried it. It's decision time. There's got 3 fish right under my feet here feeding now. Look at that chunky dark one in the middle there. It's quite strange really, them 2 rods have been out nearly 48 hours now, and though I knew nothing had been in the swim for like the first sort of 36 hours of it, it's like now, because there's fish around them 2 rods, you start wondering and getting itchy feet, and you know, you sit on my hands, do I redo them, you know, this, that and the other. But yeah, I'll freshen the spot up with a bit of bait. Right, that was the plan to what I was going to do when I went round there, but I was sort of getting a bit, didn't know whether to or not because I was still touching the bottom, but one little wrong move of a foot sort of made them flinch and they backed off into some of the snags, so I took the opportunity to throw a bit more bait over the rods. I think we're going to sit here and see if that does the job. Hopefully they will come back. They do seem to be. I mean, the plan is yesterday was to bait all along the margins, so they keep dropping on all the different spots, which they appear to have done. So all the bait's been robbed overnight and this morning. Yeah, sun's on the margins, the weed beds are getting sort of well fished by the rest of the lads. I think the fish are getting a bit twitchy around them, but yeah, we'll see what goes on. Nice sunny day, and well, because the weather's so good, our local stunt pilot's up. You probably hear the sound of a plane in the background. He's a bit of Reading really. He's been about for as long, well, longer than what I've fished in this area for, nearly 20 years now. Just something you see pretty much every day when the weather's good. He's up there training for his air shows whenever they happen. So, yeah, something to take your mind off of fishing at times, watch him do it. Like, you sometimes worry for him when he does his stalls in the air and that, but yeah, nice part of the Berkshire countryside, I suppose, that. Taking it all in, and the plane doing some stunts overhead, free air show. At the moment, seems to be more going on in the sky than there does on the bobbins in this swim, but fingers crossed, sit on my hands for a bit longer. Right, what are we now? Middle of September. About 6 weeks since we last caught up. End of July, I think I just had a 25 pounder out of the mound swim. It's got footage of and all that lot. That swim, yeah, I got that really rocking, fishing really well. Fish turning up every day. It's almost predictable what they was going to do, you know, bit of fizzing. I had to change things about. I think I might have touched upon it, like I was started to use tiger nuts as hook bait, so I clocked that they were feeding on the smaller items, so I'm putting a mixture of boilie and seed out. So yeah, there still was a lot of feeding going on, and I was struggling to get bites on anything really. So I stuck along the tiger nut theme, but I started using the smallest nut I could find and sort of balancing it out with a small rubber tiger nut, like a real dainty little hook bait on quite a, I don't know, clumsy, aggressive, big pit type rig, you know, D rigs. But that seemed to sort of get a few more bites, you know. The bites seem to come quicker on it, so I'm convinced that the little bit of tweaking helped. And yeah, that swim still rocking quite well. So I ended up doing a couple more sessions in it, and I think I'd fish up to £29 after the last one, which is all right, decent fish, you know, nice to get bites coming. But back of my mind all the time is I felt I needed to be setting myself up for something later in the year in the deeper water of the lake. And had my eye on an area that I was going to fish. I've leaded it up and sort of plumbed it, but it's still in high summer, end of July. Funnily enough, a couple of people managed to see me catch fish, and like, word gets around the pond pretty quick. I'd been quite cagey about what I was doing a lot of self-takes and putting fish back, telling a few white lies or avoiding the subject when people come around to ask me if I'd caught or anything, you know, not being nasty or anything. It's just like when you're on to something, you want to keep it rocking, you tend to keep it to yourself. But, yeah, word had got out and the swim had become a little bit more popular, which in some ways part of me was hoping it would, because it forced me to go and start putting in some work for later in the year in a deeper water swim. And yeah, I think back of just back end of July, I had there's a bit of a crazy day. Last day of July, actually, I think it's 34 degrees. Baby black had come out the lake next door, decent weight. And that same morning, about an hour later, Greg Ellis caught the Burfield Common. So, you know, I went and helped photograph, video that fish for Greg, like you do. The following weekend after that, we had a charity event to do in the Blue Pool, a bit of a fundraiser to raise some money for the otter fence. That's when I caught that mirror that Alan caught earlier. It's a nice fish. Caught 3 others actually out of the Blue Pool at the same time, you know, that weekend. It's a good weekend, but, you know, good bites, everyone caught. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a distraction, but it fell over a weekend, so it didn't matter. It was a bit of a, you know, social with anything else. Yeah, on from that, did a couple of sessions in the deeper water swim and got feeding activity on 2 of the 3 spots I'd found, which was encouraging. Caught, I think I managed to land 3 fish and lose 1 from it. Back like shit, really. Typical, isn't it? The old light's wrong, but there you go. Cheers. Nice result and encouraging as well, because a little bit earlier than I thought. Sometimes these pressured lakes, it takes 3 weeks to get spots rocking, so you sort of like, you know, to get bites quite quickly out of it was good. But there's another thing I had to do after the fundraise for Greg. You know, we run a charity event over on the Frimley pits, and yeah, I was sort of organising a lot of the Facebook for that and sort of drumming up the interest and organising it. So I had to sort of take a week out of my fishing before that. And yeah, and then spend the weekend over there while the event was on, which was good. It's not often I spend 3 days at a lake without having any rods out, but it was quite nice to, you know, getting up in the morning, videoing fish showing in the mist and bubbling, and getting up in the night photographing some fish. I think over the weekend, catch wise, I think the biggest fish come out of pit 3 was a 40-pound common. It's a nice one called crinkle tail. There was a fish up to 36 pound caught out of pit 1. Quite a lot of fish into the 20s out of pit 2. I think 38 come out of pit 4. And they're the bonus side of a charity event. You know, we had 60 anglers down, a few spectators as well. Obviously awkward with all the coronavirus and social distancing, but it worked out well with a raffle and everything. I think we raised around the £30,000 mark, which is just unbelievable, mind-blowing. I was really chuffed with that. But yeah, on the Sunday when everyone's starting to depart, pack down day, fish I've had in my head for the last sort of 2 years, get a text message of mate Tom Stokes. He's on a bit of a roll at the moment. Yeah, he's managed to bag the fish I've been after, which is a bit of a, I feel a bit deflated, because this swim I'd started fishing, building myself up for the autumn, was like, you know, I could see mileage in that. I'd had bites, like 3 fish, you know, one of them being an old leanie, and one of the old leanies of the lake seemed to know the pattern of the lake, so I think, you know, I could get a visit from that big fish. He's got form for doing that fish as well. So yeah, I felt a bit deflated really, and didn't know what to do. So I actually decided, you know what, I don't think I'll bother going down there this week. It wasn't that, you know, I wasn't blown out with it, but what's been happening this year for me, I've caught quite a lot of fish out of there, and quite a lot of them I've already caught, suffering a lot of recaptures. There's only been a few small handful that I haven't caught before that I've had this year. Some of the fish I've caught, I think it's up to 6 fish I've caught 3 times now, so I'm starting to think there's not as many carp in that lake as what some people are led to believe. It's just the ones that get caught make up a lot of the captures. So yeah, I took that week off, went down to West Country, had a guestie on a mate's syndicate that was in the middle of nowhere. He was a bit coy about giving me a postcode to meet him at the lake, so I had to meet him at services and drive to this lovely lake. Didn't catch anything there, but it's nice to sit in different surroundings, grassy banks, no swims. You know, not say he caught a couple of fish that had never seen the bank before. It's just absolutely stunning, you know, breathtaking. It's one of them lakes you almost forget to breathe, like you're just so taken in by it. Little bit of video footage of like some nice dawns and stuff, and scenics. Unfortunately, none of me holding any carp, but yeah. And then really, next place I'm at is here, really, at the Blue Pool, having a social. Right, these have been out for 48 hours, no good. Fish have fed over them, no bites. Might go against the grain, but I had bottom baits out there on D-rigs and nothing's happened, so I'm going to do what I did last time I was here and stick an end rig over there, a bit of colour on it. So hopefully I'll come in and spot that one straight away. Well, there wasn't nothing wrong with that, other than a bit of weed on the end of it. If it was an island and I was casting at it and I couldn't go around and look at it, it'd be the same scenario, wouldn't it? So I'd quite happily toss a intrigue against an island. Now the question is, do I just loop a lead on that and deliberately tree it and then go around there and place it in my waders right where I see them feed and know it's on the money, or do I cast it? I think I'll deliberately tree it. The fish have gone for a minute.
It's got to work, hasn't it? Oh, some blatant. Put it in their face.
Too high. Hopefully. No, not hopefully. I went too high, so it's a snap off job. Cut. I fucking hope it snaps off because this could hurt. Told you that line's good, didn't I? I reckon you was in the firing line there, Dave. Shouldn't really laugh because that's fucking dangerous, isn't it? It could have killed the cameraman there. And Elliot would have had to put an advert out for a new one. Look at that. Even dented the eye on it. Bent it, dented it. Alright, we're gonna go again. Bit lower. That's the one. See that? Should be able to fish that out. Yeah, I'll just cast the lead straight in the canopy, like well deep in it. Just the lead on the end of the line and go around there with a sea fishing breakaway lead. And I'll fish it out, hopefully. Shouldn't be too hard to do. Got the rig already tied up in jig and that. And I'll loop that on. And then obviously the spod rod I'll fish it out with the breakaway lead. I'll just tie a loop of PVA on and place the bait down on the spot. Take a little bit of time to get it right, but hopefully it'll be worth it, and that rod can just stay there until something happens on it. Be precision, you won't be able to place it better or cast it better. Might be what it takes. We'll see, that's where the confidence will lay. Now, by rights, oh look, you see my line, look, you see it? It's easy enough to do. That's it. Right, where's my bucket of tricks? Problematic doing this, but clay there, a few deep. Don't ping off the anti-frap tip ring. There we go, look, if I'd cast that I'd have been fishing over that snag, which wouldn't have been very good, would it? We is in amongst them, at one with nature, as they say. See what, I've got a pair of scissors somewhere, but I think where I'm so suctioned into these waders, I can't feel my pockets. I've been shrink wrapped. There we go. Hinge rig, critically placed, nice. Got to get out of the water, basically. To put a PVA loop on that, get rid of that gripper lead. Right, a bit of PVA string, old-fashioned Gardner stuff. Just going to tie a loop with that, put it on that quick clip, hook my rig onto it, and I'm going to dangle it over where I want it to be. I'm not going to drop it in the water because I've got to go back round there, tighten up the line lay a bit because at the moment I've got a bit of slack laying around here, so it's hard work, a bit of backwards and forwards, but hopefully it'll be a trap set. If they come in, everything should be down right, hook bait exactly where I need it to be. Not, well, I'll say trap set, if something comes in, see that bright pop up, bang, we can but try. obviously PVA, keep it dry, so we don't want it to touch the water. It's going to have to stay there a minute while I go and sort out the line lay a bit back at base. I think I have to go around and check that's all straight-ish, because obviously the rig's hanging in the tree on a rod with PVA loop, that the leader's sort of 45 degrees towards us. So obviously I'm dropping it in quite deep water, so you take that 45 degrees the other way. I should get the line lay the other side this weed bed I'm fishing over to, into that canopy. Right, that's the donk. That's it, she's down. You ain't getting much better than that, because I put a hinge rig down there, sided, and sort of dot some baits around it, try and get them picking up and moving, and hopefully they'll see that visual hook bait and pineapple pop up, and that'll be their downfall. We shall see. Once I've got a few right near it, I'll spread a few out as well. Right, don't get much better than that. Nice leery one in their face. Mind you, glowing gravel like that, a yellow one probably don't stand out as bad with the sun on it. We'll see. So then, Thursday afternoon, late Thursday afternoon, we're off in the morning, so sort of a little recap. It's been a pretty good week, good to catch up with some of the lads. Like I said earlier, don't get to see them that often, once a year some of them, you know. Most of the lads have caught fish, I think we all caught actually. Some have done better than others, been some nice fish caught, good average size as well. I mean, I think I lowered that with my little one, but that just goes to show carp fishing is what it is, you know. You know, it's not all success of winding in big uns everywhere you go, so, you know, it just brings you down to reality at times. But the plan of sticking to the plan has worked for me a bit, you know. The fish have moved, they seem to have turned up with me this morning and mugged me off a bit. I've had a little bit of a change, got a couple of rigs hand placed. That's looking good. If the fish have had a good feed along that margin and cleared it out, so there's every chance they'll come back for another go. So I'm still hopeful, we've got another night left. And, you know, I'm pretty sure there'll be other bites around the lake tonight as well for the lads. We'll see what tonight brings. And, well, the camera guys are off tonight, but yeah, there's enough lads here with cameras. So if we do get any more, we can cover it. Hopefully I'll get a good one. We'll see. It's, like I say, there's no guarantees in carp fishing. A bit like my campaign, like locally as well. You know, that didn't end for me like how I thought it would this year, but there's still time yet. You never know. Might be able to pull it out of the bag before the winter sets in. We'll see. So I'm sure we'll let you know next time we see you. Scales, eh? 3.3. Plan worked. Yeah.
Job's a good un.
Doing he? Let's start one there. This one more here.
Happy days.